What is up, everybody? Welcome to today's video. So today I'm going to be talking about some rules that we should have when it comes to having friends of the opposite sex. Now, this is a very important subject, so if you're interested, please stick around for the rest of the video. So I don't like wasting your time, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to start by quoting 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 1 and 2, which says, "Do not rebuke an older man, but encourage him as you would a father, younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, younger women as sisters in all purity." Obviously, this verse goes both ways, man toward woman, woman toward man. Now, the first rule that I want to talk about is to have boundaries. It is so essential, so important as Christians to have boundaries, and especially when it comes to having friends of the opposite sex. So a good friend, a biblical friend, will take care of your heart and respect the boundaries that you have set up. For example, let's say that you have set a boundary not to speak to the opposite sex past a certain time. If that person keeps wanting to cross that boundary or keeps wanting to disrespect that boundary, says, hey, we should talk maybe like at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, then you should probably just stray away from that friendship or end that friendship altogether. It's very important to have friends that respect your boundaries, to have boundaries yourself. Do not be boundaryless. Have boundaries, please, so that you do not have unwanted consequences in the future. Rule number 2, do not flirt with each other. I think this one is a big one. In our culture today, it is seen as something that's not going to hurt anybody, it's harmless, but it can have negative consequences. There should not be any flirting involved through text, through message, through FaceTime, through calling. Why is that? If that person is just playing around, also red flag, huge red flag. The other person or both parties can start developing feelings when the other person doesn't really care, it's just playing around, not really taking care of your heart, and you should probably end a friendship like that that really doesn't care about you. Listen to what Song of Solomon chapter 8 verse 4 has to say. "Promise me, a woman of Jerusalem, not to awaken love until the time is right." If that person wants to pursue you romantically, they should be intentional in letting you know their motivations. They're not going to play around, they're not going to leave you confused, they're going to take care of your heart, because in that way they will show selflessness and not selfishness, not playing around with your heart for their pleasure. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 4 through 7 says, "Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." The third rule is do not be alone. This one has some common sense to it. Obviously, if you're with a person of the opposite sex, at no time, in no place, should you be alone with that person. It does not matter how tight the relationship is or how long you guys have been friends. Being alone is not an option. Proverbs 6:27 says, "Can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned?" We have to understand that we cannot expect to place ourselves in a tempting situation and not sin, not be burned, as Proverbs 6:27 says. If you play with fire, you are going to get burned. That's just how it works. And some of the consequences can be broken relationships, loss of reputation, Christian witness that is hindered because of what has happened, and even blasphemy from unbelievers who learn about what you have done. So we should stay away from being alone with a person of the opposite sex. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 18 says, "Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body." In situations like that, we should be like Joseph and run away, not stay there. And this kind of goes back to the boundary point. If you have made clear that you are not going to be alone with that person and they keep wanting to cross that line, you should probably end that friendship. Rule number 4, a friend of the opposite sex should not be the person you vent to / they should not be your accountability partner. There are certain things that you only talk about with a person of the same sex. If you're a man, your accountability partner should be a man. If you're a woman, your accountability partner should be a woman. Now, by this, I'm not saying that it's wrong to ask for prayer from a person of the opposite sex or a friend of the opposite sex, or letting them know that you're going through something. They may help you in prayer or may give you a little bit of advice. But going really deep with this and venting to the person of the opposite sex can lead to developing feelings that should not be there, or to get closer than you guys want to get, which can lead to negative consequences. So I think it is very wise, if you're going through a habit, if you're going through a cycle of sin, or you have an addiction, to talk to a person, a biblical man, a biblical woman who can guide you, but not the person of the opposite sex. Number 5, know the intentions, your intentions and the intentions of the other person. Why do they want to start a friendship with you? What's their goal? What's their motive? What's their purpose? Do they feel alone and they just want somebody to help them not feel alone? Do they want to start something romantically? Do they want to pursue you? Does that person just want an adrenaline rush, use you for their own pleasure, which is a red flag, and you need to be careful. So I think it is very crucial to understand why you want to start that friendship in the first place and why that person wants to start a friendship with you. It is very important to have that clear from the beginning. Number 6, and I think it's number 6, is a true friend, a biblical friend of the opposite sex will lead you towards Christ. Now, by all that I've said, I'm not saying that we should not have friends of the opposite sex. We can, but we need to have rules. The person that is a biblical friend of the opposite sex will lead you towards Christ, will respect your boundaries, will guard your heart, will pray for you. They will love you the way Christ loves, selflessly, not selfishly. They will love you, not lust after you. They will pray for you, again, like I said, they will exhort you, and they will lead you deeper with Christ, not away from Christ. If a friendship is leading you away from Christ, then it will be very wise to just end that friendship altogether. So we have reached the end of the video. This is not an exhaustive list, like these are all the rules that we should have. So if you guys have any other rules, please leave them down in the comments below. And if you guys can, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and turn post notifications so you guys do not miss any of my next video. If you guys could also share this video so other people could be encouraged, exhorted, and go deeper with Christ. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.